with ambulances queuing. That doubled as soon as Trafford A&E.
Right. Just at that moment.
Just at that moment.
Yeah. I think there is a broader point there is about local government, Jed, and you know, it's where is it going? You know, I mean, the cuts that people are making are, and the sad thing is, in the end, you're going to be forced to cut all of the things that promote good health in the community, swimming pools, leisure centres, like, you know, places that keep people healthy, or people's mental health, like libraries, you know, all the things that help keep people active and involved. You know, it's just that's not a vision of the future.
And everybody being stretched and everything, but what I'm scared of is the appeal of putting different areas out to tender, out to private companies. So I hear tell that there's a 10-year plan for Wythenshawe to create a new private maternity centre that's going to be at the back of the education centre. I don't know.
Private hospital.
A whole private hospital, is it? So this is the kind of thing that I think that we need to make everybody aware of and see what we can do now to stop it before it gets to a place where even if we do get the Labour government back in again, then we can't, you know, we can't reverse these changes because we've invested so much in it.
And it's just the NHS is on a fast track to fragmentation at the moment. You know, that's the way, it's just been pushed down that path, and as you say, I mean, it gets harder. You've got more and more people dealing with the same person, haven't you? And then you get all of the potential then for the kind of problems that you've described. As far as I'm concerned, the future is integration, collaboration, and you know, a crucial thing. I think there's a reason why I'm saying that we want local government more in the driving seat on commissioning. We've got to make the linkage between the health services and the broader determinants of health. So health and housing, health and planning, health and leisure, health and education. You know, and that's what a place like this was all about. And that's why I'm so sad to see the that closure of the Walking Centre. You know, you've got to kind of make the linkages between the two rather than having them separate. So I think this current government has shown no leadership at all on public health. It's almost left a vacuum on public health. It's taken us from opposition to take a clear position on smoking in cars with children, and you know, it looks like we hope anyway that next week the Commons will pass that. But that is we were left to do that because the government didn't take a view on it. I think the answer to your question, Martin, is I think we need to have, in my view, a much bigger ambition for physical activity. Why? Because sometimes public health can be a bit finger wagging. You know, it goes straight to don't do this, don't smoke, don't drink, don't eat this, don't eat that. And I think you've got to give people the keys to their own health. And you know, it doesn't make sense to me that about a quarter of adults in England are physically active compared to half the population in Germany, Netherlands, Scandinavia. For a country that loves sport as much as we do, we can do better than that, I think. And the thing that I know is that when you become physically active, the reason why it's right to focus on physical activity is that it then helps you make other healthier choices. So you tend then to feel more in control, and so you probably eat a bit better, you probably maybe drink a bit less, and if you're smoking, you cut down on it. So I have a policy around 50% of the population active by 2025, 50 by 25, and I think that we want. Because local government, on the lead on public health, have also got a delivery system for physical activity with places like this. We think that is the way to go. So that's one idea. Second one though is how do you make people healthier in a place like this? I've looked at our time in government and I've kind of thought, well, we need to kind of go on a similar journey with food and alcohol policy as perhaps we did with tobacco. And let's take food. The voluntary approach I don't think is in the end cutting obesity, is it? The kind of content of food products seems to get more and more dangerous really as we go along. And so what I've proposed is maximum fat, salt, sugar levels in children's food. I'm not comfortable with the idea that any child in Wythenshawe sits down to a bowl of food at breakfast time that is 38% sugar. I just don't think in the end that's going to build in time a healthier population. So I think the time has come for a bit more leadership on particularly food policy, and you'll see that from the shadow health team in the next couple of months.
I think from my local authorities, need to help to build a stronger civil society as well. I'm a lifelong member of Stretford Wheelers. I go out with the lads, the girls every couple of weeks. We do 40 miles into the Cheshire countryside. It's a voluntary activity that people come together to do that, because we develop leaders who can do that. In Cholton recently, I think they set up a running club and about 300 people turned up to it, and now we have a few of them as being established across Wythenshawe. So, from my perspective, we need to find those leaders in health and they're not always state solutions, and the state should be there to encourage those people to take responsibility for themselves, so that they can bring people together to act on health in their own way.
Absolutely. I just don't think we would be able to do it in 2020. It'll be gone too far. It's kind of once the genie's out of the bottle, it's gone, and we're getting quite close to that point at the moment. So, you're right about the EU-US treaty. What that would mean is that if somebody let a contract here, and a US healthcare company said it was done badly, they could challenge legally from the States, and then you're in a completely different world. So we've got a chance to pull it back out of that at 2015, and we've got to make, that's what the Labour Party's got to make, a really clear statement about it. It's made us confront what we really think about it. And let me just say this to you, just so you're in no doubt about it. I believe passionately in the public NHS, in what it represents. There was someone, even on our side at times, who kind of said, oh, well, it doesn't matter who provides as long as, the service is good. I actually don't believe that. I believe that we get, the country benefits from a service that puts people before profits. The NHS is a service where anybody can walk through the door, and it's basic. It doesn't matter who they are, where they're from. It doesn't matter. It's what their need is, and that is a precious thing. It's not shareholders or bottom. None of that. And we've got to protect that at all costs. And we've got. So that's why I had a policy as Health Secretary of NHS preferred provider, and that would remain my policy. Kind of protecting and cherishing the public NHS, because as you seem to be saying, that's the kind of system that you want to work. I'm not against a role for others, the voluntary sector or even the private sector, playing a supporting role. But that's what it should be for me, a supporting role, never a replacement role. And that really kind of crystallises the difference between the current government and us. And that's the ground on which we'll be fighting. A public, integrated NHS versus what is becoming basically a free market, kind of free-for-all, a health market. And the way I would say, I think, because of the way Cameron used the NHS before the last election, kind of positioning that he was the biggest friend of the NHS, I think in time, in the fullness of time, his promise of no top-down reorganisation is going to become to Cameron what no rise in tuition fees is to Nick Clegg. He personally made a commitment on it, didn't he? He broke it, and people are going to, I think, in the end, hold him accountable for the damage that now is kind of being inflicted on the NHS.